One big reason for the move to modern roundabouts is that they're much safer than traditional intersections. Who says so? Well, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, for one. They're a research organization that issues safety ratings for cars, and they've conducted research on roundabouts, too. They looked at 23 traditional intersections that were converted to single-lane roundabouts. What they found is interesting. Conversion to roundabouts reduced all crashes by about 40%, reduced crashes that cause injuries by about 75%, and eliminated fatalities almost entirely. Are you impressed or are you skeptical? If you're unsure, bear with me for a few minutes. I think I can show you that modern roundabouts are often the right solution. One step engineers have taken in designing modern roundabouts is to reduce the size of the circle. But the most significant change was to have vehicles entering the roundabout yield to traffic already in the circle. This is done with yield signs at the entrances rather than stop signs or lights. These changes help to keep traffic moving at a safe and efficient speed. How efficient? Well, those researchers at the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety studied 10 traditional intersections. They calculated that if those intersections were converted to roundabouts, each driver would save a minute or so, and that the combined savings of all drivers using those roundabouts would be about 325,000 hours every year. Compare that to the typical intersection with traffic lights. How many times have you waited for a red light when not one vehicle came through the intersection? You can't sit at a red light at a roundabout because they don't have lights. When there's room for you to enter, you're in and out with almost no delay. And that's how roundabouts reduce harmful emissions. If you don't have to stop and start, you burn less fuel. The same study by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety estimated that if those 10 intersections were converted to roundabouts, fuel consumption would be reduced by about 235,000 gallons a year. I think you'll agree that we would all benefit from that. But the biggest advantage of roundabouts is that they're much safer. As we saw earlier, 40% fewer crashes, 75% fewer crashes with injuries, and almost no fatalities. Why? Well, sadly, it's because at traditional crossroads intersections, we see T-bone and head-on collisions, and they're the ones that tend to be serious. But T-bone and head-on collisions are just about eliminated at modern roundabouts because all traffic is moving in the same direction and at slower speeds. That means any collisions that do occur tend to be side swipes or other glancing blows, which rarely cause injuries. There are also some particular advantages for pedestrians in modern roundabouts. First, because traffic speed is reduced in the circle, crashes involving pedestrians tend to be less severe. Second, research has shown that more than half of all crashes involving pedestrians also involve left turns. But there are no left turns in a roundabout. To go left, you actually make a right to enter the circle and a right to exit. Also notice that when modern roundabouts have crosswalks, the crosswalks are farther back than in traditional intersections. Because pedestrians are set back from the circle, drivers can react to the pedestrians first and then deal with the traffic. Compare that with traditional intersections where drivers have to deal with everything at once. The islands between the lanes in the approach to a roundabout also contribute to safety since pedestrians only have to cross traffic one direction at a time. Notice that the entries to the roundabouts are slightly curved and that the circle has a relatively small diameter. These features naturally slow traffic, usually to about 15 to 20 miles per hour. That has a couple of advantages. First, it tends to reduce the force of any collisions that do occur, so there are fewer injuries. Second, with slower traffic in the circle, it's easier for drivers to enter the roundabout. Can you see why people like modern roundabouts? You might prefer them too once you've tried them.
My first impression was, what is a roundabout? And then my second concern that we had was, were we able to get our emergency vehicles around the roundabout? So we decided then to bring one of our largest fire trucks, which is a 90-foot aerial platform, down there and drive around it, in which we did, and it worked just fine. It's really important that your people are comfortable with it and understand how well it does work.
Research shows that members of the general public tend to react the same way. Once they've driven a roundabout a few times, most people like it. And driving roundabouts is actually pretty easy to get used to. You just need to follow a few simple rules.